properly. What the fuck do you think you're doing?
Dock out, Grandad. This has got shit to do with you.
Oh, really? Telling you all now. Shit! You're too pissy. Shut up!
The film opens with Richie, a middle-aged British man, practicing shooting with a former mafia boss. He now lives in Spain, enjoying his retirement. Although he's left the criminal world behind, Richie is clearly not just an average man. His luxury villa shows he still lives a rich and comfortable life. That afternoon, Richie has lunch with his daughter Carmen and tells her he misses his older brother Charlie, who still lives in the UK. The scene then cuts to Charlie, talking with friends about Richie's past. Just then, Charlie gets a call from Richie in Spain. During their conversation, the two brothers share how much they miss each other. After the call, Charlie went back to his friends. Then, a woman named Lizzie, one of Richie's friends, walked up and asked for his phone number. She said she had liked Richie for some time. Believing they might be a good match, Charlie agreed and gave her Richie's number. Elsewhere in London, a couple named Aaron and Lauren walked down a quiet street. But Aaron, the leader of a gang, was secretly planning to hurt her. He led her into a narrow alley where his gang was waiting. There, in the tight space, the gang harassed Lauren and recorded everything on purpose. One gang member, Dean, tried to step in, but Aaron stopped him. Just then, Charlie heard the noise from behind the bar and rushed over. When he saw the gang about to hurt Lauren, he told her to leave right away and shouted at the gangsters. But instead of backing off, the gang insulted Charlie. Angry, he punched one of them. In response, Aaron told his men to kill him.
It's pissing. Your hands.
Shut the fuck up! Shut the fuck up!
Soon after, Lizzie came out of the bar looking for Charlie and was shocked to find him dead in the alley. That night, she reported the incident to two detectives, Susan Taylor and John. Unfortunately, the two detectives couldn't arrest Aaron and his gang because there wasn't enough evidence. Lizzie hadn't seen the attack herself. She only saw the gang leaving the alley where Charlie was later found dead. She told Richie about his brother's death. Heartbroken by the news, Richie decided to return to the UK. The story continues with detectives Susan and John confronting Aaron and his gang. They warn him that if they find enough evidence, they will arrest everyone and charge them with Charlie's murder. But Aaron denies everything and walks away without saying a word. As soon as the detectives leave, he tells his men to silence Lauren, the only witness to the attack. Sensing what Aaron was planning, Dean secretly went to Lauren's house and warned her that Aaron was coming. He told her to stay inside for her own safety. Later, Aaron arrived with some gang members. Standing at her door, he threatened her through the gap, warning her not to tell the police about Charlie's murder. He said if she talked, both she and her mother would be killed. Meanwhile, Richie arrived in the UK and quickly met with Roy, one of his trusted allies. Then he went to Lizzie's house to learn what had happened to Charlie. Lizzie said she didn't see the attack herself, but she believed a gang known for causing trouble in London was behind Charlie's death. Richie and Roy went to the spot where Charlie was killed. There, they met detectives Susan and John, who were working on the case. Susan, knowing Richie was once a mafia boss, asked him to let the police handle it. Though hesitant, Richie agreed in front of them and walked away. That evening at the bar, Lizzie told Richie she had found a video of Aaron and his gang harassing Lauren. She believed it might be linked to Charlie's death. Since she knew Lauren, Lizzie gave Richie the address of her workplace. Richie later went to see Lauren to ask about his brother's death. Grateful to Charlie, Lauren agreed to tell him everything. They sat and talked in a quiet place near her workplace. Lauren said a local gang, led by Aaron, was behind the murder. But neither of them noticed that DK, a girl in Aaron's gang, had seen Lauren talking to someone about what happened to Charlie. DK went back to the gang's hideout and told Aaron that Lauren had spoken to a man named Richie. Aaron thought Richie was just a regular middle-aged man and didn't take it seriously. The scene then shifts to Charlie's funeral, where Richie and his old mafia associates had gathered. Soon after, an old man named Arthur arrived. Richie joked that Arthur was too old to be hanging around and should go home. Arthur, a bit offended, replied that he was the only one who ever came close to beating Richie. Everyone laughed at the remark. Richie then thanked Arthur for coming, saying he was the reason the old crew had a chance to reunite. After the funeral, Richie visited an old friend, Jack, a former police chief now living in a small house. Richie asked Jack to help him investigate Aaron and his gang. In return, he promised to share some of his wealth so Jack could enjoy a better retirement. A few days later, Jack gave Richie information about several gang members, but he couldn't find anything on Aaron, the gang's leader. Using what Jack found, Richie told his old friends to kidnap two members of the gang, Leroy and Ed. When they were caught, Leroy and Ed mocked Richie and his crew, calling them a bunch of old men. Leroy and Ed refused to answer any questions and kept asking where Aaron was. They insulted Richie and his friends and even threatened them. But Richie and his crew just laughed. It was clear the two had no idea who they were really dealing with. But when Ed insulted Charlie, Richie lost his temper and grew furious. On Richie's order, Arthur took a nail and hammer from his bag and drove the nail through the back of Ed's hand. Then, without stopping, Arthur pulled out a power drill and drilled into Ed's leg, causing intense pain. Seeing his friend tortured, Leroy panicked. Afraid of ending up like Ed, he quickly agreed to help Richie and said he would lure Aaron out of hiding. Richie's friends were suspicious, but Richie surprised them by choosing to trust Leroy and let him go. The moment he was freed, Leroy pulled out a gun and tried to shoot Richie. But Richie acted fast and shot him dead first. Calmly, Richie said he never believed Leroy, he just didn't want to hurt someone who looked helpless. His comment made the whole group burst into laughter. Moments later, as they were about to keep questioning Ed, they realized he had died from the torture. Elsewhere, Aaron was angry after finding out two of his men had suddenly gone missing. He believed a rival gang was behind it. The next day, Richie met with Lauren again and asked for her help in finding the rest of Aaron's gang. Lauren said she had seen one of the gang members, JB, in a parking lot. Richie, feeling guilty for involving her further, asked for her phone number. But before she could answer, Detective Susan suddenly showed up. She was Lauren's mother and stepped in to protect her. Susan firmly told Richie to keep her daughter out of the danger. The scene then cuts to the parking lot. JB saw Arthur standing alone and thought he was just a weak old man. He tried to scare him, but Arthur suddenly pulled out a sword. JB, who was on a bike, panicked and tried to ride away. Just then, a car pulled up in front of him, and he crashed. The car was driven by one of Richie's crew. Arthur had been standing in the parking lot as bait to lure JB in. JB was then kidnapped by Richie's team, tied up, and hung in an abandoned building. Richie asked where Aaron was hiding, but JB, full of arrogance, refused to say anything. JB didn't stop there. He also mocked Charlie, saying he looked like a stupid dog while being beaten to death. Hearing that, Richie snapped and beat JB to death.
I'm gonna fucking kill all of you.
How's that for fucking iron?
After the incident, Richie's old illness came back, and he had to be hospitalized. As his health slowly improved, he started planning how to lure Aaron out of hiding. A few days later, Aaron and his gang were seen preparing weapons, expecting an attack from a rival gang. Suddenly, Lauren arrived at their hideout to meet Aaron. She told him that Richie had kidnapped and killed all the missing gang members. She also said Richie was now in the hospital. While they were talking, Lauren's mother called. Aaron told her to answer so Susan wouldn't get suspicious. After the call, Aaron and his gang took Lauren hostage and rushed to the hospital. Once there, he ordered his men to split up and search for Richie's room. Soon after, two of Aaron's men found a hospital room and opened fire on the bed, thinking Richie was there. But it was a trap. Richie and his team were hiding behind them and launched a surprise attack. At that moment, Aaron was in the elevator. When he heard the gunshots, he instantly knew Richie had figured out his plan. Aaron grew suspicious of Lauren and checked her phone. He found out she had been helping Richie set up him and his gang. Furious at her betrayal, he tried to kill her. Luckily, Dean arrived just in time and tackled Aaron, saving Lauren. Moments later, a violent gunfight broke out between Richie's crew and Aaron's gang. Realizing how dangerous things had gotten, Lauren quickly called her mother, Susan, and asked her to come to the hospital. Meanwhile, Richie and his crew were taking down Aaron's gang members one by one. But one of Richie's men was shot in the arm and had to be rushed to the emergency room. Dean then tried to get Lauren out of the hospital to keep her safe. However, Aaron saw them and quickly took Lauren hostage, forcing Richie to reveal himself. Moments later, Richie and his team arrived and saw Aaron getting ready to shoot. Suddenly, Dean attacked from behind, throwing Aaron's plan into chaos. Aaron's gun flew toward Richie. Richie ran to grab it but struggled to reload it in time. At that moment, Aaron stood in front of Richie, pulled out another gun, and aimed it at him. But the gun was empty, so he couldn't shoot. Just then, Susan arrived with a team of police officers. Seeing Aaron as a threat to Richie, they opened fire and took him down. After the incident, Richie stayed in the hospital for treatment. Susan visited him and thanked him for saving her daughter's life. A few days later, Richie threw a big party at a club. He reunited with Lizzie and admitted she had feelings for him. Richie asked her to come with him to Spain, but Lizzie said no. She didn't want to leave England. At the end of the film, Richie's friends said a sad goodbye as he prepared to return to Spain, especially after everything they had been through to avenge Charlie's death. But suddenly, Richie showed up behind them, surprising everyone. They had thought he had already flown back to Spain on a private helicopter. Richie told them he had decided to stay because he wanted to keep living and fighting alongside the friends he cared about. The film ends with Richie and his crew getting ready to fight crime in London, hoping to make up for their past mistakes. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button. And if you didn't, feel free to hit dislike twice, just to be sure. Watch the full movie if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more exciting videos